allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, and I'd like to welcome everyone to the Bryan City Council meeting for Monday, February 6th, 2017. Nice crowd tonight. The first item on our agenda is to approve the minutes of the January 17th council meeting.
I move we accept the minutes as read.
Second.
Judy?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yep.
Keith?
Yes.
Tommy?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes. Next item is the hearing of public concerns. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to address council, I see no one, so I'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which would be an ordinance providing for the transfer of funds for the city of Bryan for the month ending February 28th, 2017. Lori?
Ordinance number 2, 2017. An ordinance providing for the transfer of funds for the city of Bryan for the month ending February 28th, 2017. This is a transfer of $400,000 from the 1% income tax fund to the 101 general fund for general spending purposes, and a transfer of $84,681.80 from the 0.5% income tax fund to the 506 wastewater treatment fund for payment on the loan. Total amount of transfer requested, $484,681.80.
I move to suspend.
Second.
Carrie?
Yes.
Keith?
Yes.
Tommy?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Keith?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes.
Tommy?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes. Next item is another ordinance. Mayor? Read it.
Ordinance number 3, 2017. An ordinance amending codified ordinance section 763.01, 763.03, and 763.04, and adding section 763.05 pertaining to taxi cabs.
Okay, all those dates will date back to 1950, just about the time I was born, for taxi cabs, when the taxi cab ordinance was produced in Bryan. And at that time, you could drive a taxi cab if you get this permit for $5 to have your taxi cab. We've had one in town certain times. In order to have that permit, you had to get a certificate of insurance, make sure that they had a particular amount at a local insurance agency, and also you had to have your vehicle inspected to make sure that that was correct and in good shape once a year. And the other thing that you had to have is make sure that you would pass a record check from the police department. We've had a request from someone that wants to start up a taxi business in Bryan, and he said, what did he have to do to go back? So when we looked at that, it was 1950, we started asking some questions. So we did check with what some other towns are doing and whatever, and the lowest amount for a permit would be $25, it's from $5 to $25. And we did check with what regulations we would have, and they said most of them will say, and if you go online, you don't want to have too many regulations if you don't have too many taxi cabs. Now, if you get where you have several taxi cab companies and they start bidding against one another, that gets kind of hectic where they have to bring the rates in, what they're going to charge and everything like that. We're not that big. But what we're proposing here is to change, basically do pretty much what we've done before, as you see written in the ordinance, but instead of $5, it would be $25 per year per taxi cab, which means we'll start doing that at the beginning of the year. If they get it in say June or July, they still pay the $25. Next year when the taxi is up again, they'll pay the $25. And That way they would be recorded. So whether they bring this business into town or not, I don't know, but we do, they have a business right now in Defiance, and they have had, actually, the Defiance company gets called to come here to Bryan, and they said it would be cheaper for them to find somebody that could operate one here in Bryan than bringing that taxi cab down here every time to haul somebody around. So my recommendation is to change that ordinance and at least get $25 per year out of a taxi cab, following some of the same criminal record checks, driver's license, a valid driver's license, and inspection. Rhonda has looked over this, our city attorney, and thinks it's due for an update, so that's my recommendation.
Is this something that we need to suspend, or should we have
I
a first
think
reading on it?
I don't think there's any suspension needed for this. I mean, we either do it or we don't, you know, it's kind of like that, so.
So
What
you're
happens,
sa-
oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, so you're saying not, we don't need to suspend?
I don't think you do. We just have to
Okay.
have some rules in place, so
Okay.
if a business wants to come in, we can get it started.
Okay.
There was actually a taxi driver on Main Street today, and they had a NA number on the side of their car. This is gonna be something that, if they come into the city of Bryan and we see them and they're not through our license, we need to make sure that they.
Yeah, at the point, but we'll have to get this established. How many days after does something like this take effect? 30 days. We
Okay.
still have 30 days, so it had an A license on it, an A taxi,
Yeah.
you know.
And then there's times at New Year's Eve where churches offer, I mean, are we gonna waive that
No.
for them?
Yeah, we don't do, this is
And it
only.
won't hurt us liability wise?
Won't hurt tax churches, things like that. They still have their same amount.
I make a motion, we suspend.
Second.
Tommy?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes.
Keith?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Carrie?
Yes.
Keith?
Yes.
Tommy?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes. Next item on the agenda is a resolution. Lori, would you please number and read?
Resolution number 3, 2017, a resolution authorizing Douglas Johnson as delegate to represent the city of Bryan as a member of the Board of Directors of the Ohio Municipal Electric Association.
This is an annual ordinance that could have been done right at the first of the year, but we waited to this meeting to present it. Actually, I've been on the Ohio OME board for quite a few years now. I've been a member of the elected officers of that board. And once a year, we make our Washington trip to appeal to the legislators, people on rates and things that's happening, municipal bonds and tax exempt bonds and so forth. And this just keeps me in that position for another year, so I recommend that I'm here.
I will move to approve that, and thank you for keeping up on that, Mayor.
I'll second.
Carrie? Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Keith?
Yes.
Tommy?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes. Next item is another resolution. Lori, would you please number and read?
Resolution number 4, 2017, a resolution authorizing the Clerk-Treasurer to advertise for bids for the project known as 2017 Asphalt Program.
This is one of my yearly projects that we do every year. As always, we still haven't really decided what streets we're gonna pave yet. What we do is Andy, myself, and Tyson will drive around and see how certain streets winter out, you know, which ones need work, which ones don't. Typically, they're non-chip sealed roads that are decent asphalt base. You know, we talked before, a chip sealed road, we can't go in and pave because there's not enough structure to hold it up, so. But we'll come back with a little more formal list, but just so when we're bidding it, so you guys all know what we're planning on. But at this point in time, I'd ask to suspend the rules and authorize me to go ahead with this. About $300,000 is what we're thinking.
Is
I
there
move
any,
we-
I'm sorry, Keith, go ahead. Is there any grant money available?
We're using
with
some
this?
gas tax fund. We've got a fund that we get so many dollars per year per mile of streets in town. We haven't tapped it for a few years, so we're tapping that this year to utilize it because we haven't done it for several years. But no, there's no grant funds for this
Gotcha.
particular, not like what we did on Fountain Grove last year, there's no
Right.
grant funds.
Right.
We're gonna apply for some this year for next year's construction, for complete rebuilds, but it's tough to find grant funds for just paving.
Okay.
For a municipality. Counties and townships are different.
Okay.
All right, I move we adopt this.
Suspend.
Oh, suspend first, please.
Second.
Keith,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
Tommy,
Yes.
Judy,
Yes.
Rick.
Yes.
I move to adopt.
Second.
Judy,
Yes.
Tommy,
Yes.
Keith,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
Rick.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is a resolution. Lori, please number and read.
Resolution number 5, 2017, a resolution authorizing the Clerk-Treasurer to advertise for bids for the project known as 2017 Pavement Marking Program.
Again, yearly project. I think last year's bid amount was around $82,000, so we're anticipating about $85,000. It'll hit all the streets that currently have center line and edge line on it. We'll have to do some testing on High Street to see if the retro reflectivity is still good enough, or whether or not we have to restripe that yet or not. But for the most part, it should cover us with the roughly $85,000 that we're planning. So with that, I would request you suspend and authorize me to proceed.
What do you anticipate as far as bidders for this?
Zimmerman Paints.
Yeah, I was just curious because I know I was over in another community this summer and there was somebody else doing it and they were from, it wasn't Zimmerman's. I was
Right.
just curious.
You have local contractors that like to work in certain areas because they're used to it and they know where everything's at, so it's just the way it works out.
Okay.
I move we suspend.
Second.
Keith,
Yes.
Carrie.
Yes.
Tommy,
Yes.
Judy,
Yes.
Rick.
Yes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Carrie,
Yes.
Judy,
Yes.
Keith,
Yes.
Tommy,
Yes.
Rick.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is another resolution.
Resolution number 6, 2017, a resolution authorizing the Clerk-Treasurer to advertise for bids for the project known as 2017 Street Improvement of Mayberry Drive from Newdale Drive to YMCA Entrance, Bryan, Ohio.
Again, a project that was a earmarked budgeted item this year. We're shooting for around $250,000 cost. I've talked with Ben from Parks and Rec. We want to shoot for bidding it now for construction in April and May. Early April might be pushing it, depending on how quick we get the frost out of the ground. I mean, there's no frost now, but how quick the ground, I guess, dries up, so we're ready to proceed with it. But our goal in the construction documents is to have it done by the Friday before Memorial Day. So that way it'll be out of the way for a lot of the summer programs. We had to pick a 8-week window somewhere that was gonna be affected, and Ben and I felt that the best time would be April to May rather than June, July, or August. So we're gonna sacrifice that area, April and May, and proceed.
Shouldn't be any issues with the construction of the addition to the Y?
They are bringing all their construction equipment in from the south, from Center Street, and we're taking care of the north,
Across the
so.
parking lot, across their parking lot?
Yeah, through their parking lot.
Yes, that's what
Right,
I'm saying.
correct.
Okay, I'm just concerned. I'd hate to get a lot of.
They're aware of our
equipment going up
project,
and
and we're aware of theirs. It'll be good to have them all done at the same time.
Well,
so.
I understand that, but new street, I'd hate to have them go in there with
Yeah.
heavy equipment.
Yeah, we met with several email conversations back and forth between us and the Y and the contractors for that, and the architect as well, as far as egress, how they're gonna get in and out, where construction traffic can park, and so forth. So I think we got a pretty good resolution, but now's the time to do it. We're gonna get it done now before summer hits.
I move to suspend.
Second.
Judy,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
Tommy,
Yes,
Keith,
Yes.
Rick.
Yes.
motion to pass.
Second.
Tommy,
Yes,
Carrie,
Yes.
Keith,
Yes.
Judy,
Yes.
Rick.
Yes.
Thank you.
Brian,
Thank you.
one thing before you take off. Any plans for any other streets with that slurry process like you used along Fountain Grove Drive? Is that,
I'll get into that in my annual report.
okay, all right, thank you.
So stay
Yep.
tuned.
And stay tuned. Well, keeping us on the edge of our seats, right? Next item on the agenda is Park Board. Mr. Dominic.
Good evening. I have with me this evening Tammy Bergman, our chair of the Park Board, and she would like to address council in reference to soccer field lighting in the rec park. Tammy will present her letter that you have from the Park Board, and then I'll be free to take any questions and kind of discuss the project as it moves forward as we go from there. So I'll give it over to Tammy. Thank you.
Good evening to Bryan City Council and Mayor Johnson. We, as the Park and Rec Advisory Board, feel as it is our responsibility to be stewards of our parkland and do what we think is best for all citizens of the Bryan community. We also feel that in some situations, such as this project, it is our responsibility to do the research on the project and make some educated recommendations to council so that we may act upon it. Everyone on this board takes these responsibilities very seriously, and we act on behalf of the citizens of our community. On March 17th, 2008, the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board brought a project to council called Soccer Field Improvements. In this project, one of the items that was not supported by Park Board at that time was sports field lighting. Over the past couple months, the field lights issue has resurfaced. The Parks and Recreation Advisory Board has met multiple times with the Soccer Association to discuss the idea of adding sports field lighting on the soccer field. From these meetings and discussions with BMU, Bryan Fire Department, and Musco Lighting Company, we have developed a recommendation from the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board Council. After spending some time researching this issue, the Park Board would like to recommend that the addition of sports field lights for the soccer field be approved by council. The money needed for the light system and installation of the lighting system will be raised and paid for by the Bryan Soccer Association. The Park Board would like to stipulate that the lighting system be made up of LED fixtures. The LED fixtures are more energy efficient and will reduce maintenance cost. LED lights provide directional lighting, which will illuminate the field for players, but also eliminate disruptive glare in nearby homes or housing additions and preserve the darkness of skies above. The Park Board truly feels these lights are needed for the continued improvement in the local soccer program by allowing coaches to better utilize our facilities and give more players in our community increased playing time and game exposure. We also feel these will be a great improvement to an already excellent facility and our park system. The Park Board would also like to have final approval on any and all of ways of thanking donors for this project. Recognition of donors will be completed by the Soccer Association after Park Board approval has been given. The Park and Recreation Advisory Board would like to thank the Soccer Association for their work on this project. We know that they have, and will spend a great deal of time trying and putting these projects together, and then raising the money to fund this project. We would also like to thank the mayor and council for their time and consideration concerning this matter. We hope the recommendation of the Park Board will be considered when making this decision. We look forward to working closely with both groups throughout this project in the future. Sincerely, Bryan Parks and Recreation Advisory Board members, Tammy Rouget Bergman, Paula Klein, Renee Isaac, Emily Ebaugh, Kelly Voigt, Dave Batt, ad hoc, and Kevin Rao, ad hoc. Thank you.
Thank you.
So there you have it. We've been approached by the Soccer Association with an interest of installing the sports field lightings onto the soccer field. They presented the needs of the project. As Tammy mentioned, some of the concern is in the fall months, they really struggle to play games into the evening. Most teams, when they come, will bring a varsity team and a JV team. The JV teams are getting maybe a half in, okay? So to increase that exposure for those younger kids as the program continues to grow, the need for sports lighting is there. That was one of our concerns in 2008. Was there a need there? The need is now there. Again, the project will be fundraised for by the Soccer Association. It will then be a donation to the parks, which then we would bid the project to install the lights. Questions?
Do you have any idea what the annual cost of operation and maintenance would be for something like that?
We don't have a very solid number as far as an annual cost. We've met with a couple different companies that do the LED lighting. The one guy's comment to me is you will never replace an LED light in your career. If there's an issue, it's typically in the box. It's a fuse. It's something along that lines. It's not the light itself. Whereas right now we do with the metal halides, we do occasionally have the BMU guys that have to go up in the truck and replace light bulbs and all that kind of fun stuff. They explained to me that will not be an issue. They are more energy efficient. They use less, and that's why we stipulated the LED lights. They still make the metal halides, and they're cheaper. But I think in the long run, it's a better cost-effective measure to use the LED lights and stick with the LED lights.
And that has to come out of your budget, or is the soccer?
Say that again.
That will come out of your budget, the
To
electricity to pay for these and to replace anything that has
no,
to be done?
at this time, the lights that are used in the park are a free service through BMU.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, you mentioned that when you get ready to do this, it would be bid out, but did you say that we would bid the project?
Yes, it'll be just like the softball field, the concession stand out at the park. Any of the major projects that we do, the money is donated to the city, and then the city has to bid the project. Prevailing wage, all that kind of fun stuff plays a role in how this transpires.
Okay. What, any timeline on start and finish?
Well, in a perfect world, they would love to have lights for this soccer season. I think in a realistic world, you're probably looking late fall, maybe even early spring next year. I think that's realistic.
Any other questions for Mr. Dominic?
The one thing I would ask you to do tonight is I would ask you just to approve a first reading, to give the community an opportunity to hear about the project, know about the project. There's no reason to suspend it tonight. Do a first reading. That way, if there's any questions, concerns, issues between now and the next meeting, somebody can contact the Soccer Association, contact the Parks and Recreation Department, anything along that lines. And then at the next meeting, we can discuss if there are questions, concerns, issues moving forward with the project. So I would just ask for a first reading, not a suspension.
There's no resolution for a reading, this is on for discussion.
Just discussion, okay. So then at the next meeting, we could bring a resolution. I
Yeah,
apologize for
I was
that. My
asking
bad.
Keith.
Yeah,
I
my
thought
bad.
We had to have a resolution or something before
So-
we could have our first.
We could ask if anyone
Yeah.
out there is listening tonight and have concerns, they could come to the next meeting and we have the,
You have a
Probably.
resolution
Yeah.
ready.
yes, ready to
So
go.
we'll present the next meeting for
Right.
first reading and.
Yeah, and you could do as you wish at that point. I just want to I want to get it out there and make sure that everybody is okay with it. We've thought of the Greystone people. There's been some discussion in Greystone. I assure you these lights will not bother the people of Greystone, but there still may be some people uneasy about it. So I want to give them an opportunity, if there are some issues, to please, contact us, and we'd love to try to work through the issues as opposed to have problems.
I think a lot of your schools and that have gone to the Musco lighting, and they're right in residential areas. And
Yeah.
If people know, other folks in those areas, they find that there's very
Right.
little problem, but they'd ought to check that out themselves to see that, but I don't think that should be a problem either.
Okay. All right, thank you very much.
I got one question.
Yeah.
Approximately how many people are utilizing that soccer field? Not including visiting, I just.
Not including visitors.
Yeah, I'm just curious as to what.
They probably
our
have
community
roughly
members-
50 kids in their programs combined, 50, 60 kids in the program combined.
50 to 60 plus your U14 club teams use it on occasion,
Yeah.
so probably another 30 kids.
When you have those 50, is that like the high school students? Is that where that's at, like freshmen on up? Okay, when you have a girls' soccer practice, and you use the field and you have like maybe the JVs on one end and the varsity on the other end, or do they practice separately? The varsity practices at one time and the girls' JV at another time?
No, we all practice together,
Right.
varsity and JV practice together.
Okay,
Coach Lisa and I, we share the field for practice time, so some days Coach Lisa will be on it, other days the girls will be on it.
so it's just similar to gymnasium time, you know, but I was curious if the girls and the boys, I mean, JV and varsity practice at the same time. I mean, you know, that,
You utilize like the park side fields for generally practice, like most practices, and then if we have a game coming up, for example, on a Thursday, we want to then on maybe a Wednesday, get on the game field, practice on it, and then we have the game field on Thursday. So, but generally, like most days, our practices are actually on like the town line field or some of the smaller side fields, just to not tear up the varsity field, during practice. But yes, all of our practices, like for our practices this past fall, boys generally ran from 4 to 6, and that was JV and varsity together, split up, and then girls, sometimes they ran from like 5, a little bit later. So there was a little overlap there, but generally at the same time.
do you have a junior high program or anything like that?
Well, our junior high, the way it works and with soccer is that the junior high program run through clubs. So when we mentioned like U15, that's your junior high level. So U13, U14, U15, depending on, it's by age, not necessarily grade in the club
Correct,
level.
yep.
And generally what we'd like to do, especially with the lights, is that sometimes they get games scheduled at like a 7 p.m. in the fall, and we want to allow a U15 team, for example, to get, a game or two on the varsity field under the lights, get them excited about coming up for what they can expect, playing at the high school level.
Okay, thank you.
I have one, okay, let's add on to that now. There's a lot of little kids involved in your soccer program. So what would be the total amount of our kids from a community involved? You have a rough idea? I think people out there would like to know that.
Carrie might know that.
I have to abstain from conversation here, so, sorry.
I would guess you have 400 to 500 kids involved in youth soccer.
Hundreds, for sure.
Yeah,
I'm
I
glad
think
to
that's
hear that.
probably-
Thank you.
that's a round number. Okay, if you have any questions, concerns, please don't hesitate to call me. I'd be more than happy to discuss it, show you what we have.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is a building permit.
Oh, one lone building permit inside the New Era complex. They're remodeling a small area. It's called Bryan Activate Health and Wellness Center. So, about a $200,000 construction cost. Theo Construction will be the contractor. With that, I request you approve their permit.
Is this all interior?
Yes.
Any questions from Mr. Weaver?
I move to approve.
I'll second.
Carrie?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Keith?
Yes.
Tommy?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next item is resignation. Chief Willis.
Evening.
Evening.
I actually have two resignations. The first one is Morgan Hughes. She is, or was a reserve officer for the police department. She has turned in her letter of resignation. This was effective January 17th, 2017. She has accepted a full-time position with the West Unity Police Department and has resigned from ours. I asked council to accept her resignation.
We have to also replace her, right, on the voluntary fund we have set up, Mayor, is that correct?
Yes,
She was our representative for that,
yes,
so.
it's already been looked at. Yes.
Okay, very good. I move to accept with regret.
I'll second.
Carrie?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Keith?
Yes.
Tommy?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes. Next item is permission to hire.
I have one more resignation.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Put under the same one. This will be for Joanne Roars. She has put in a letter of resignation due to retirement. She is the crossing guard for the city through the schools. Her effective retirement date would be February 2nd, 2017. I ask council to accept her resignation.
I move with, accept that with regret.
Second.
Judy?
Yes.
Tommy?
Yes.
Keith?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes. Now move on to the permission to hire.
Council, I'd like to ask to accept my recommendation to approve an offer of employment to Jesse Barrera as a full-time patrol officer with the Bryan Police Department. Jesse has successfully passed his psychological, medical examinations. We had no issues with his background investigation. Jesse is from the Defiance Fairview area, has worked with the Stryker Police Department, and we had very good recommendations from everybody that we contacted for him. His start date would be February 7th, 2017. I asked the council to accept my recommendation.
Council?
I move we accept this recommendation.
Second.
Keith?
Yes.
Tommy?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Also, we have the permission then with the crossing guard leaving. Jim Tucker has been filling in for her. I've been in contact with Diane, and we want to put Jim Tucker in that position at his rate that he'd been receiving. That was $9 per hour, and this position will be eliminated at the end of the year. I don't know what their plan is for the school, if they get it ready or what, but no matter what, we want to get out of the crossing guard business there. That should be school responsibility. So we'd like to keep Jim Tucker up there for the rest of this school year and then eliminate it.
Okay, so you do mean school year like June?
Yep,
Okay.
yep. So I'll need a motion for that.
So moved.
I'll second.
Keith?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Tommy?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes. Okay, Mr. Engstrom.
Good evening.
Sir. Good evening.
Tonight I am recommending to hire Cassandra McIsaac as a vehicle operator trainee at the recycling center. She has passed her physical and background check. She already has a Class B CDL. She'll be on probation for 1 year, starting tomorrow, hopefully.
I move to accept this.
Second?
Judy?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes.
Keith?
Yes.
Tommy?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a retirement.
Okay, I read this letter with deep regret. Dear Mayor and Council, please accept this letter of retirement from the position of wastewater plant superintendent effective April 1st, 2017. My last day at the wastewater treatment plant will be March 31st, 2017. I've appreciated the support of the mayor, council members, department head, and City of Bryan employees in my 29 years of employment here. My previous employment at the City of Defiance wastewater treatment plant will give me a total of 33.25 years of service credit with the Ohio Public Employee Retirement System. I have total confidence in my assistant Wygant and the staff at the treatment plant to maintain operation at the plant. During the remaining 2 months, I'm willing to help in any way to make the transition as smooth as possible. Please let me know if there's anything specific that you would like me to do. Again, it's been a pleasure working as part of the City of Bryan. Best regards, Rick Holmeyer. I was recommended Rick, and he got the appointment as the superintendent just a little over 10 years ago. And a lot of things have happened out at that wastewater plant in the 10 years, and he has moved it forward. His probably, the worst thing he has to probably think about are the words EPA. I think that's the words that we always have to worry about out there. But others, outside of that, we move forward in that area. We want to thank you for doing that, Rick. So with regret, I guess we have to accept that.
We have to?
No, you don't have to.
Okay. No. I move to approve with regret.
I'll second.
Carrie,
Yes.
Judy,
Yes.
Keith,
Yes, with extreme regret.
Tommy,
Yes.
Rick.
Yes. Congratulations, Rick.
Yeah.
Next item on the agenda is permission to post the position.
Yeah, with Rick retiring, we have to go through the procedures as we always do to hire new individuals. So we are going to post that position and follow the procedures of hiring a new wastewater superintendent. So I'd like permission to post that as soon as possible.
I approve the mayor's recommendation to post the position.
Second,
Tommy,
Yes.
Keith,
yes.
Judy,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
Rick.
Yes. And next item is employee status change in wastewater. Mayor?
Josh Harper has been an employee for us at the wastewater plant. We hired Josh in 8/1 of 2007. He has moved forward in getting his various licenses. We got word from the state of Ohio EPA that on January the 27th, on the 27th day of January 2017, Josh has passed his Class 3 wastewater treatment operator's license. So by union contract, he moves up into that classification as a Class 3 operator. So you have that paper before you. And that's by union wage.
Any discussion?
This may be a dumb question, but I think it's the first one I've had on council. There's no probationary period for this?
No,
Okay.
not when you're in a licensing. They go
Well,
just from one to the other.
I kind of
Now-
assumed, but I
yeah.
don't like to do that often. So.
Now, if that individual happens to be made an assistant or a head, then there would be the
Sure.
probationary period. Yeah.
I move we accept this change.
Second.
Keith,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
Tommy,
Yes.
Judy,
Yes.
Rick.
Yes. Next item is annual reports. I believe, Mr. Wheeland, you're up first.
There. Right there, just hold that, see what happens. Keep holding it. Hit it real quick. Hit the down arrow real quick. There we go. Great.
Hey, Keith, you want to pass those papers?
I have all these here. You want them all? I've been taken down. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll try and be brief tonight. I lost my voice, so I just got it back a little bit today, so I don't want to talk too much tonight, but I will do what I can to go through this as brief as I can. Okay, the engineering office, myself, Melanie Kaiser, Andrew Waterston, Don Klein takes care of our GIS and mapping, Patrick Thorpe takes care of our surveying, Scott Noble takes care of the traffic lights, and Frank Sanita, he actually retired officially for the second or third time in 2016. With regret, I accepted his keys the end of December, and he said, thank you, and it's been a pleasure working with you. So with that, Frank will no longer be with us. Last summer, rain, go away. It seemed like every time we turned around, there was rain. I think we actually extended 2 projects, their completion dates, because of the rainy weather. As you can see, rain does not help when you're trying to pour a driveway approach. So just one of the hazards that we have throughout the summer. Fountain Grove Drive rebuild was one of our biggest projects we had last year. We awarded it in July. Awarded a little late because we did receive Ohio Public Works funding on that. It was awarded to Gherkin Paving at about a $585,000 cost. I was asked if we're going to do something like this next year. I am going to apply this fall for more Ohio Public Works to do East-South Street. That's going to get widened out a little bit, hopefully. It costs us about $500,000 a mile to do a road like that. We're working with the city of Defiance as well. They spent a lot of time up here during construction of our project, viewing and seeing what was going on. And they're going to do a few streets down there in their area as well. And we've been talking about whether we can try and do this on a street that's curb and gutter, where we can rototill what's up in between there and leave the curbing. We've got a problem over in the East Village. There was 3 or 4 years worth of aggregate stone that came from an Auglaize plant that had a lot of silt in it and not a lot of aggregate in it. And what happens is we'll pave a street in that area and it's just like a sponge underneath there. The aggregate needs to go. So we need to completely rebuild some of those streets and take the curb and gutter and everything out. But we may try a gamble. We're going to look into it. The 10 Mile Creek was the company that did this reclamation process for us. They say they do complete this project on curb and gutter streets. They say it takes a little bit more handwork next to the curb to do what they need to do, and then they take some material out, so obviously we can pave over it and we don't have the road 6 inches higher than the curb. But we're doing some pretty good research on that, and 10 Mile Creek is going to contact me this summer. They've got a couple projects that they know that they anticipate getting the bids on, and Andy and I are going to go drive and take a look at those projects while they're being constructed to see how it actually works out, kind of like Defiance did with us. So it's a good process. You know, a few of the pictures that we had here as well. I know, Judy, you spent a little bit of time with me out there, and I think you wanted to drive one of the pieces of equipment when we were out there, but you know, it's basically they just start and they rototill the road up, everything. Just till it up completely, 12, 13, 14 inches deep, which is the top picture. The lower left picture is where they added a cement, Portland cement lime base with that, and they rototilled that in and added water and graded it and compacted it, and then a week later they came back in and we had the finished project on the right here. And again, I was always saying I'm curious how well that project's going to winter out. I drive it several times a week. I don't see any problems. I anticipate potentially a pothole or two because I'm sure there's some spot that's we're going to have a problem with. You always have that, but as of now, I don't see any major areas of concern. So I'm very happy with the way the construction went, with the way the construction ended. You know, we did create a few drainage issues down there, which we're dealing with. We're going to work on some storm sewer to help dry out a few areas that maybe water might have ran across the road before or done something different that we might have obstructed. But, you know, live and learn a little bit. But as far as the road itself, I'm happy with it. So to answer your question, Rick, yes, we're looking into doing more of those areas. You know, I wanted to make sure that this one wintered out fine, but I'm feeling very positive about it.
Before you move on, in round numbers, what are we looking at as far as savings in comparison to a full depth removal?
When I start budgeting a street itself to do a full depth removal, I say it's between $600 and $700 per foot. So if you've got a mile long street, let's just say 5,000 feet times $700 a foot, that's $3.5 million. We did Fountain Grove for $585,000. Now, granted, it's not apples to apples. Okay, when I do a full depth removal, we typically work with the utility office and put new water main in. We'll replace sanitary sewer if it's aging. We'll replace storm sewer. But the road itself, it's probably a third of the cost. I'd say it's a third of the cost to remove and reclaim and restabilize the material. The asphalt's still the same because we're still putting 4 inches of asphalt back on top of it. but substantial savings, substantial.
Thank you.
Curb replacement program, we had asked to do that in the middle of the year. It was around the senior center area. Bryan Excavating LLC won that bid. Cost was approximately $199,000. We replaced bad curbing as needed. That seemed to work out real well. The areas are holding up real good. The asphalt's holding up, so excuse me. It's a program I'd like to continue. We're not going to do any this year because we've got our eyes on other projects, but as time goes on, as we start to see more areas where the ones we look at, it may not necessarily be bad curb, but it's, I don't know if you remember the presentation I did last year, it showed where they busted the curb out and poured the driveway over the curb, and there's not a good joint there. And water and ice tend to undermine the curb and destroy it. So we're gonna look for more bigger areas of town, and most of them are in the Peters Addition area as well. So we look to expand that program here in the future. We did a miscellaneous storm and sanitary project that we're actually constructing right now. We had actually done, oh, excuse me, no, this is a different one. This was constructed last spring. This was Leglida Clerk, Palmer Lane, Brenner Drive, and then areas of High Street. We did some sanitary and storm sewer on that particular project, $189,000. Just one of our typical yearly storm and sanitary projects. The asphalt program we did last year was about $340,000. We repaved the Don North and East End parking lots, parts of South Beach, South Allen, and Markey. And Gherkin Paving usually receives the bid here, not always, but usually. And when they come to pave, they come to pave. There's a picture of them with 5 or 6 trucks lined up. So they're ready to roll, and they do a good job, and we're happy with what they do. Pavement marking program was bid in August, $82,000. Contractor was Zimmerman Paint. I think this is the same picture I had last year where it shows a multi-step process of the paint and the glass beads and so forth. So it's not just as simple as shooting a little paint on the ground. They have to add the glass beads to make it reflective. We've done our engineering storage building as well during the summer and early fall. That was bid in July to Thiel Construction with a cost of $171,000. And it's the few times we've had to plow snow this winter, we're very grateful to have warm vehicles. Made a huge difference. And then with Frank's retiring completely too, it's really nice to have everything back here in-house. We don't need to drive across town. So it's a nice addition, and I think it blends in back there real well. I don't think it sticks out like a sore thumb or anything. We're going to continue with retro reflectivity mandates. I think we need to try and tackle more of the no turn on red signs and some more speed limit signs this year. We've done stop signs the last few years, but just so we make an effort every year, we continue to meet the requirements. So we'll continue with that minimal efforts there. Other tasks, we take care of traffic control devices, assist the utility office with bidding and design of projects. We help with wastewater, parks department capital projects, assist the street department as needed, take care of zoning and building issues, and we have 2 trucks that plow snow and lots in some streets as needed to help Tyson. Goals, as always, I need to keep applying for more grants to stretch the 0.5% income tax. We're going to apply again for North and South Main Street paving. I met with a consultant here a few weeks ago, and we're going to try a couple other avenues other than the small cities grant. We might be able to get funding from 3 or 4 different pockets, maybe from Ohio Department or U.S. Department of Agriculture, and a few other places that maybe we can get the funds out of several pots instead of just one big one, because we just don't seem to have that much luck. When there's $60 million worth of grants applied for and only $8 million to give out, we really don't have that good of a shot at it, but we'll try. Again, I want to apply for Ohio Public Works for East South Street and probably some more sanitary sewer, which we applied in September for more sanitary sewer, and we did receive that, so we're going to be doing some sanitary replacement in the southwest part of town this summer through Ohio Public Works. And again, we'll continue on more commercial and industrial clean water investigations. We worked a lot with a company on East High Street last year with some storm and sanitary issues, and we've got a couple other bigger plants that we want to hit as well and try and do some more separation with them as well. And with that, any questions? Some signs I thought about putting at all ends of town. With that, I'll take no questions, and I'll save my voice. Thank you.
Good presentation, thanks.
Thank you.
Chief Siders.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Council's been presented with a hard copy of our 2016 annual report. PowerPoint presentation that I'm going to give tonight is just a synopsis of that report. Okay. What happened there, Mayor?
There you go.
There we go.
There you go.
There we go. The mission of the fire department is to provide the highest level of services to the residents and the visitors that come to the city of Bryan. We do that through fire suppression, prevention, public education. We respond to natural and man-made disasters. We rescue trapped, lost, or injured persons. And the City of Bryan Fire Department is dedicated to assisting, to the best of our ability, other governmental and also non-governmental agencies in completing their missions as well. Our vision is to be a respected and productive organization within the city and surrounding communities by providing the most professionally trained and experienced personnel with the necessary apparatus and equipment to complete our mission in the most efficient and effective manner. Our core values for the fire department are dedication, integrity, professionalism, respect, and service. Last year, we had 454 calls for service, and this is just this screen that you see there is a 10-year average, so you can see we're pretty much right on course with our run volume. This slide here shows how we break it down. This is how we report it to the State Fire Marshal's office, which in turn then reports it to the National Fire Reporting System in Washington, D.C. As you can see, last year, 16% of our calls were vehicle accidents. For some reason last year, people couldn't drive, so we had a lot of vehicle accidents. Also, high on the list was good intent calls. We get those when someone smells something burning or they think something's burning, a smoke detector going off or a carbon monoxide detector going off in someone's home. We go to those types of calls. The next highest one is then our EMS assists, where we go out and assist the Williams County EMS with patient care or lifting patients. And then false alarms are our next highest area. These are the fire alarm systems that are in industry, hospitals, and nursing homes. We have to go to those anytime an alarm goes off to investigate to make sure that they, in fact, do not have a fire. And in the event that they happen to break a sprinkler head or something like that, like what happened a few weeks ago out at Hillside Nursing Home, we're there to assist with water cleanup. So we do that as well. 10% of our call volume are for fires, and fires are kind of lumped all into one category. So that kind of breaks that down as to how that works. Last year, 305 of the calls for service were generated in the city of Bryan. The remainder were broken out into the 3 townships and the county properties that we protect. And the other that you see there on this particular chart is for mutual aid calls when we go to other communities to assist their fire departments. Response times, the top chart there, this is the average response time for all the calls. This is from the time that the pager goes off until the first truck starts to, or the first truck arrives on the scene. As you can see, within the city of Bryan, we average right around 5 minutes. So that's pretty good for a mostly volunteer fire department. We also put on there the 3 townships, again, that we protect through contract. And then, of course, going to other locations like Montpelier, Napoleon, Defiance, places like that, obviously it takes us a lot longer to get there. So that drives the call time up. By day of week, we're pretty much busy 7 days a week. Last year, our busiest day was on Thursday. But again, we stayed pretty consistent
Monday through Thursday, and it kind of went down a little bit on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But again, we pretty much stayed busy every day of the week. And this chart kind of shows that, as you can see on the 10-year average, how busy we are any one particular day of the week. And again, the fire department is consistently busy every day. We always get questions as to what month are you more busier than others, and last year August was our busiest month. As you can see by the bottom chart there in the lower left-hand corner. And the top chart again is a 10-year average that you can look at and compare between 2007 and 2016. Time of day, the bottom chart is the 10-year average, and the top chart, the green line, is for 2016, and I did a comparison for you this year based on the previous year, which would have been 2015. So as you can see, starting at about 6 a.m., we start to see an influx and an increase in our call volume. We start to continue to climb right up until about 3 p.m., and then we start to see a decline in our call volume at that point. The fire department runs a crew system. The volunteers are divided up into 4 crews, and each one of the career firefighters are placed on each one of the crews. So each crew is on call for a 24-hour period. Like today, Crew 3 is on call, so they handle all of the single engine response type calls, wastebasket fires, fire alarms, EMS runs, things of that nature, where we don't have to send every piece of equipment out. Last year, Crew 1 was the busiest crew. They had 72 calls. Obviously, you can see there, again, in the previous chart proves that, as well as most of our calls happen during the day, during the work week. The on-duty staff handled 149 of those calls. And we had 65 general alarms. Those are the calls where we ask everybody to come in, where we need multiple pieces of equipment to respond, such as a house fire in town, where we're going to have 2 engines, a ladder truck, and a heavy rescue. The bottom chart again just kind of gives you a 10-year comparison. Property value lost. Last year we did pretty good. I believe we saved almost 95% of property that was involved in fire. That really speaks volume of the dedication of our firefighters on the fire department. We had $14 million worth of property value, and we estimate right around $13 million. So that's a pretty good rate. Of course, the biggest share of our job is to prevent fires in the first place. I've got this grandiose goal of eliminating fires altogether. If we don't have to have fires, we don't have to have a fire department. I know that's not going to happen, but let's try to reduce them the best we can. And we do that through our fire prevention program. We go out to the schools, we give tours, we do programs with pre-school children all the way up through 4th grade. We go out to the summer reading programs, the summer meal programs, and we meet with the kids and with adults, and we talk about fire safety, we talk about smoke detectors, and stop, drop, and roll, and everything else. So we're getting our message out there in regards to preventing fires and reducing fires. Of course, training is top priority. Again, our call volume as such is only 10% of our call volume is fires. So we have to be constantly training and remain sharp on our skills. As most of you on council know, that our teachers or were teachers, if you don't use your skill that you learned within 30 days, you tend to start losing it. So we have to continuously practice, and we do that through our training center that we have on the west side of town. We train other firefighters from around the area to receive their certifications in firefighters. We also are involved in special events. We go around, we've got the big flag, and we go around and fly the big flag for different events around the community. And of course, last year, or actually we've done it now for probably 2 or 3 years, where we've opened the firehouse up in the summertime for the motorcycle ride that happens here in Williams County. And last year we had a whole parking lot full of motorcycles, so we like to do that. And again, during those events, again, we're getting out that message about fire prevention. Of course, we're always looking for firefighters. This ad is out on our Twitter page, our Facebook page. If anyone has an interest in being a firefighter, give us a call, and we'll be happy to sit down and talk with you about it and get you started. And of course, this is your Bryan Fire Department, dedicated men and women on this department. Last year we had a couple of folks resign. Alex Campbell, who went to the Army, April McLean resigned for personal reasons, and we had a retirement this year, Brad Stuckey, with 30 years of service. So with that, I'll entertain any questions that you might have. You also, again, you can follow us on the city's webpage. There's the link, and we are on Twitter and we are on Facebook. So if no questions, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Also, one more thing. I did give council a copy of a national fire report that was done recently. And as you go through that handout that I gave you, I'd like to point out the fact that you look at the trends and compare them to our 2016 annual report, you'll find that we are pretty much on the same volume of fires versus other calls as everybody else in the nation. So if you have any questions about that, please give me a call. I'll be happy to talk to you about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is we'll be going to executive session. Before we do that, I'd like to go around the room. Mr. Dominic, anything further? Chief Willis? Mr. Engstrom? Mr. Whelan? Chief Siders? Mr. Holmeyer, your last opportunity.
I just want to say, as my letter stated, I appreciated working with everybody in the city of Bryan. There's some great people work here. And I appreciate you letting me retire. And I think one of these days I'll be sleeping a lot better because, believe it or not, having that job will make you roll around with me. And we have a good staff out there of people to take over, so. You're gonna see me around for a couple more months, but I just want to definitely say I do appreciate it. It's been good. Thank you.
Thank you. BMU, anything? Mr. Day?
I just want to wish you all the best, Rick, and we'll thank you so much for what you've done for the city of Bryan and what you've accomplished out there at the plant. I also would like to just recommend to people to wear something bright when you're walking in the street or running in the street. Black just doesn't do it for people to see you. A little safety measure there. Thank you.
Mr. Moore?
Same thing, Rick. Thank you very much. You and I have maybe butted heads a couple times, but when we walk out of there, we're on the same page, and I really do appreciate the job that you've done for this city and the citizens, and you got a nice staff out there, like you said, so thanks again, Rick. That's it.
Also added to that would be Mrs. Hughes and Ms. Roars that are also retiring along with Rick. I don't know them, but I wish them the best in their retirement. I do know you, and I do wish you the best in your retirement.
Okay.
Mr. Holmeyer, I still stand by my first no. You have taught me a whole lot in my first year on council, but I do hope that in between sleeping, you take up walleye fishing in Lake Erie, because I know that's something we both enjoy to do. So, best of luck, but we're gonna keep you around until March 31st.
Lori?
I'd just like to tell Rick, I'm really gonna miss him. He's a great department head to work with. I used to tease him quite a bit about every time he walked into my office, I knew it was gonna cost a lot of money. So that part I really won't miss, but I'm sure your successor will probably be there a time or two, so I wish you well, Rick. Enjoy it.
Same here. It's been great to work with you, Rick.
Well, Rick, I just wanted to say congratulations, and I know you won't stay idle if I know you at all, and catch some big fish while you're out there. Mayor?
Yeah, once, when Rick walks into my office, I know there's something wrong, and then he says, he always starts out, well, EPA, and I know we're in trouble. It's a lot of money, but he tries to solve those problems, and that's what we try to work with. A couple things I have tonight to bring you up to date. The gas station uptown, they've had the second sheriff's sale last Thursday, and once again, no one came forward to own that station. If no takers, now it moves to an auditor's sale. If no one comes forward, at that point, the auditor, they can turn it over to the land bank, and the land bank then can proceed to get the grant and get that gas station moving. How long that's gonna take, I don't know, but we keep moving forward to try to get that taken care of. Also, it has been drawn to my attention that our CRA committee, it's a 3-year term that ends in 2018, but we had 2 members that have to be appointed by council. One was Carrie, and since she comes on, she's stepping off, and then Deb Barcy passed away, so council needs to appoint 2 members to that committee. The mayor, I have Charlie Wolf and Bill Bonney on that committee already appointed, and the planning commission then has to replace Owen Miller. So council should be thinking or trying to see if anyone would want to serve on that committee. It meets about once a year, and if we have a CRA, they just have to say, well, you passed some CRA at council, I think.
I abstained.
She abstained.
I didn't.
So
I abstained.
anyhow, that's what we have to do. So if you can think of anybody at all that would serve, get those names to me, and we'll get that to Andy so he can get his report completed. Also, this Friday, this is the Vocational Education Month out at the Four County. Every year they have the mayors go out and meet with the Four County students, and of course we stress vocational education and getting jobs in town, and it's always good to hear what they have to say, and look forward to coming out, Rick, to your building, and for this is on Friday. So this February 1st through the 28th is Career and Technical Education Month in Bryan. So it's always a yearly thing, and we look forward to that. And I think outside of that, that's all I have.
Okay.
Thank you.
At this point, we'll be going into executive session for acquisition of property after a short recess.